that to not make us think he was a deplorable, idiotic, toxic buffoon?
Because he's just a really nice guy. He's got a heart of gold. Honestly, I don't know what I did. All I know is that when she tells him that she's already engaged to Max McCandless, that breaks him in two. And he just never really recovers that. It's just straight down after that. And that was just a total accident that we came to know what that was going to be, because we never talked about the part. We never talked about the script. Right? I mean, you did. I didn't. And if I tried, you're just like, no. So we sort of we're just feeling our way through, literally and figuratively.
The idea of the character for so long, and having talked about all the aspects for so long, and then actually starting day one, I think how many people in this audience are actors? Oh shit, okay. So you know at the beginning of something, when it's like the first day of school and then you're gonna start and you're like, okay, great, like I'm psyched up, and then you actually start and you're like, that's what I meant to do? You know, there's just this idea in your head, and then when you actually have to externalize it, at least for me, maybe everyone who raised their hands has never felt this way, and I salute you if you haven't, but I think like the first couple days or week of doing something, playing a part, it's excruciating no matter what, because you're just getting your sea legs, and it's just never going to match up to what you have in your mind, and then you have to be in a state of constant acceptance that that you're still human and you're not a robot and you can't do it perfectly, and that's the good thing about being an actor, is there is no perfect. It's cool that we're not Olympians and that you can't measure it.
That's true.
Even though they keep acting like you can measure this, or you can like say one person is better at it than another, which is just impossible because everyone's so specific and different, and another person would play this part totally differently and probably way better, but what's better? I don't know. Anyway, this is the meltdown I've been having on a nightly basis. I wake up 3 a.m. lately. But that was the hardest part, the beginning, because it's such a primitive state, and it sets her off on the course of the rest of it. And we had marked it out in stages. We had turned it into like 5 stages, Yorgos and I, in delineating her progress. And it was only at the beginning that we weren't shooting chronologically, so we shot the beginning and the end, and then we shot the middle all after that. So it was like, all right, let's figure out where she starts and where she ends up, and then we're gonna figure out the middle as we go. And I think, yeah, I kind of tortured myself for that first part of it.
Those are extremes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because she's so primitive at the start and so incredibly eloquent by the end.
Yeah.
So was it just whiplash for you to have to make that giant shift and not do it gradually?
Kind of. I mean, we had worked on it, we had rehearsed it, we had sort of figured out how she walks, how she talks, what the dialogue was with Tony, like working out all of that, and the script was so beautifully written that it was like you could figure out the way her speech is evolving, but her, I don't know, internal sort of stuff, that was an interesting thing to jump between those two without knowing the middle yet. Constanza McCrass, who did the choreography on The Favorite, between Rachel Weisz and Joe Alwyn in that scene, came to Budapest where we were shooting and brought dancers with her, and we rehearsed and came up with all of these moves, and Yorgos would kind of watch and be like, yes, no, whatever, or what would feel right to us, like would she be, feeling this way at this point in the story, or how would he come into it and all of that. So we rehearsed it quite a lot for a very long time for how crazy that that scene looks. You would think it would be a little more refined, but that's not the characters. But yeah, no, that was a blast. Did you have fun with that dance part?
A little. I had, when we were doing it, it was the most fun ever, but learning it was very difficult for me.
Why?
It wasn't? Yorgos told me I was a terrible dancer. But that's why I was so good. You're a terrible dancer. Oh, but that's why you're so good.
It's all impulse.
It's like a Zen koan. It's like one hand clapping. I get it. Yeah. It was, you know, it's their whole relationship, really, in a physicalized performance. And it was so much fun. And it was so crazy. And, you know, we knew the dance moves, but at the end of the day, you know, how those characters really behaved was what we'd already been working on for so long. And so the dance was really an extension of them, but also what we brought to it in that moment. So it does feel very spontaneous. It does feel improvisational, because we were just playing the relationship at that point. We weren't really thinking about the dance anymore. We were just playing the relationships. And then it devolves into this fight. We didn't know what that fight was going to be. It was like, you jump on him, and you get on that guy, and then you guys will end up here, and then a bunch of background people are going to run in and try to pull you away, and then at some point you guys got to run off, you know, and that was basically how we blocked that scene. And it was just chaos, and it was a wide shot. We did it in one take. It was like, we probably did it twice. Never mind.
No, I was just gonna say there is one point where Robbie, remember, he said, because Yorgos doesn't shot list. Yorgos and Robbie, Ryan, our DP, they don't shot list. So like at the beginning of the day, they're sort of like, all right, maybe we'll go here, and then we'll figure this out from here, which is kind of amazing for how visual and how, you know, composed everything is, that they don't shot list. So at one point, Yorgos is like, all right, Robbie, let's just get in there, like with a handheld, but it's a fisheye handheld. And then I kicked Robbie, and they kept it in the movie. When I got on the guy's back, Robbie's like, ooh, here we go, you know, and I was like, boom, accidentally kicked Robbie, and they're like, let's keep it in. So it was more than one shot, and I did accidentally kick the camera. But that's fun, it's part of the kerfuffle, you know? Oh, yeah.
And never did we talk about the script or the characters. We just played theater games for 3 weeks. Right? We did interpretive dancing in slow motion and fast motion, both forward and backward. We wrestled, we sang, we wrestled, we danced, and we rolled around on the ground. And it was the most informative rehearsal process I've ever been through in my life.